Good evening, viewers and listeners. We are live and welcome to the Seven City Shoptalk Sports Show, broadcasting live to you from the beautiful state of Virginia to all over the world. This is your Seven City Shoptalk Sports Show, and as of now, this shop is open. And hey, let's kind of talk about what we got going on in the world of um, Virginia sports, Virginia multiverse, I guess is what we're going to start calling it now because there's so many different things that are happening. But we want to thank you for joining us another episode of our brand of dysfunctional camaraderie. And as of now, like I said, the shop is open. I am your host, Big Law Lawrence Johnson. It's one of my co-hosts here in the building. We got Miss AB in the building. How you doing, AB?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I am great. I'm great. Just if anybody read our marquee, we have a lot to talk about. Some serious things, it seems. Um, whenever you get into some of these serious conversations, it could take a while before we kind of hash through all of it. But you got anything to say for your opening monologue?
Yeah, can we get rid of the snow that we have here? Like I'm over winter already. New
You're
year,
already over it?
new year, don't nothing change over here but the weather, but this snow can go. It can go.
Right, right. The snow can go. Yeah, I think that being that we have had a decent amount of snow all throughout the state, I think that we're actually absolutely over it. Oh man, this is one of our co-hosts in here, my man Ed in the building. What's going on, Ed?
Hey, Law. What's going on?
Hey, thank you for tuning in. How you been? We haven't had Ed on for a little while. Ed
Has
is
been a while, hasn't it?
yeah, Ed has been enjoying the holidays, I reckon. Uh, you
Uh,
know,
yeah, that's as good a reason as any.
yeah, but everyone, this is Ed. He's our resident writer here, Seven City Shop Talk Sports. Um, but yeah, we're just kind of getting into opening the show, talking about some difficult things, or some serious things to talk about. I'm not gonna say difficult, but serious things.
Okay.
So uh, the first thing on the docket, let's talk about um, the football team, and kind of what's going on with recruiting, right now. My first topic and segment for the show is UVA football has had a measure of success in the portal. And sometimes, or a lot of times when this coaching staff or this team has gone out and got players through the portal, it seems like sometimes it gets, trampled on or poo-pooed, and they don't really feel like they're doing that great of a job, But I'm gonna start with you, Ed. You jumped in, so I'm gonna get you let you go and heat it up first.
That's what
Have
I
you
get
been
for
paying
showing up
attention?
late.
Yeah. Have you been paying attention to all of the players that UVA has been bringing in off of the portal?
Not all of them. I did notice. We got a guard from what was it, JMU,
Mm-hmm.
and then was another guard coming in from somewhere. I can't remember where, but I did notice a couple of linemen like over the last week or so, which was encouraging.
Yeah, absolutely. It is
I mean, we
encouraging.
you can't have too many big fellas, so
Well, it was definitely a need that I know AB and some of the other team members had discussed. It says, all right, we're getting some some guys on the outside of the further away from the ball, but we need some folks who are close to the ball, whether it's on the defensive end or the defensive side of the ball or on the offensive side of the ball. Let me come to you, AB. What do you think?
I mean, it's great if you can get people, but it's more about utilizing it. So, I mean, for me, it could look great now, but I would prefer to see later how we are able to utilize these guys on our team. I mean, personally, I think that we really need to work harder on getting some more offensive linemen because that's been our struggle the last couple years. And if we want to be able to be strong offensively, we really need to look deeper into that offensive line than we have. I mean, I feel like they've done a good job for the most part, but again, we're getting a quarterback, but do we have people to protect him?
Right. And that was the discussion. Now, if we go back and kind of take a peek, they actually have bought in 3 linemen.
Big son of a
Uh,
guns too, from what I saw of it.
yeah, they bought in 3 linemen in the past week, or 2 linemen, and they've already had a third who the center, for what I understand, was one of the top 10 centers in all of college football. To get him to commit to the University of Virginia, um, is a big deal. And just like you said, both of you said the same thing. You got to be able to get guys in the trenches to protect, your quarterbacks, to give them time, also to open holes for your running backs.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Ed. What were you gonna say?
I just said football to me has always been about imposing your will on the other team. It's really hard to do that if you don't have some big fellas up front clearing the road. It's like Coach Welsh used to say, all running backs run the same when there's no hole.
They don't run.
It doesn't matter. Your quarterback can't spot the open receiver if he's flat on his back or running for his life.
That's right. That's right. And I'm looking. I got. They bought in Tyshawn Watt from JMU. He's a
Mm-hmm.
big boy.
That was a kid I saw.
Yeah, they bought
And there was
in
another one.
Wingington from Illinois. Which is another.
That's Big Ten football. That's
Big Ten football, big strong kid. And I want to say both of these guys played against UVA at one time as well. During their careers at their school.
Certainly could have anyway.
And then of course they have the center. They picked up the center earlier when the portal opened, and he's a certified stud. And you figure, hopefully they get a few more guys, but that's 5 guys. If they can get a couple more guys, that'd be 5. Not to mention who's coming back and the young men who are coming in. Then all of a sudden you start to settle in and figure out how Coach Heffernan is gonna construct what this new line will look like. But not to be forgotten, they picked up this huge defensive end, Fisher Kamak, I believe he's 6'7", 250, big guy. He was had a great bowl game before he jumped in the portal. He had 3 sacks in that bowl game. Yeah. It's like maybe his best football's ahead of him. Then of course,
wow.
They picked up another defensive end earlier in the portal season. Kid from Elon, who's another 6'5", 245, 250, long, athletic defensive end kind of kid, who was like all conference. I know it's a small conference, smaller brand conference, but still, a standout, from where he was at.
That's okay. Chad just grabbed his back because you mentioned a kid from Elon. It's all right, big fella. It's just one kid from Elon. It's all right.
Listen, he's trying to summon Chad out of his bed. He said he's sick, so he's not going to be on tonight. But you're trying to
Man says he's sick. He's sick.
The spirit of Chad Wood.
No. Chad, if you're hurt, stay home, man. If you're hurt, stay home. It's all good.
Yeah, because Chad, Chad, he would have some things to say possibly about some of these players, but when you look at who else was recruiting them, they went head to head with some big boys, with some other big schools. Also, Jameer Carter coming back for another year. Antonio Clary coming back for another year. Cam coming back. My man, middle
That was
linebacker.
huge.
My man, I love that he's coming
That was huge.
back. Which I was very excited. That is huge, man. I was excited to see that. Frightened to death about it. I was thinking he's gonna be like a Malachi Fields kind of a move where his talent would take him to like a blue blood, kind of like Cam. Cam goes, kind of like how Malachi goes to Notre Dame, and I would not be surprised to see the kind of talent that Cam Robinson has if he goes to a higher end as far as like blue blood football program. But he's sticking home. Thank goodness he's in love with the UVA, and he's still here. But yeah, so I like what they're doing in the portal. They picked up a running back. He is from an HBCU, but he is super quick. He was one of the best players in their conference as well. They only, they were in the championship for their conference as well. But he's a super talented guy. He's a smaller running back, but you can never have enough talent to pick up a receiver from Purdue.
But I mean, when you're talking about like picking up a running back in the portal from that type of school, that's different than picking up a quarterback, because a quarterback has to be so versatile. A running back, if they have speed, you can do a lot with them. So, I feel like it doesn't equate the same. That's why I didn't like Musket. I just personally didn't feel like he had the talent to be at this level. I mean, was he okay? Yeah, but we needed somebody much more talented than that. A running back, if they have speed, that's really what we need. We need the speed, and then we can create the holes for them. We can do what we need to do to incorporate them into the game, but they don't have to have the accuracy and stuff that a quarterback does.
Right. Also, Hunter Osborne, 4-star from Alabama.
Yeah,
another defensive lineman coming in. I mean,
big son of a gun.
Yeah, so you got 6'7" and 6'5", two defensive ends that height, 250, about 250 apiece. You pick up Hunter Osborne, defensive tackle from Alabama. You got Jameer Carter coming back, Cam Robinson. I mean, they're trying to make a solid front seven, and they're trying to do it a la NFL free agency style. I'm not going to complain.
You really don't have a choice. I mean, you've got open spots all over the depth chart. You need bodies.
You're absolutely right, man. You're absolutely right.
You've got to have them. You've got to have them. Just if nothing else, just to run a full practice.
And I honestly think, they actually may be better players than what we lost. Which takes me to AB was talking about the quarterback. You're talking about Chandler Morris, the kid from North Texas.
Yeah.
And Wood actually gave him a compliment last time we did the show and said, the kid looks like he can really wing it, has some wheels. They're about the same size, but he has a lot of, it seems like he's a very talented kid as well. I don't know. The kid put up a lot of big numbers, big numbers for North Texas. North Texas also subsequently, they had a bowl game and had a freshman come in, a redshirt freshman come in, and
that kid played off he made the most of his opportunity, didn't he?
Yeah, he made him some money, as they would say.
Did I understand it correctly? He had not played quarterback since freshman year of high school.
Right. That's right.
He was recruited as a punter.
That's right. That's right. He hadn't started at quarterback since his freshman year in high school.
That's
which is absolutely phenomenal. This is awesome. But also talking about other players they bought in. They bought in is it Jamal Edring from Purdue, the wide receiver I was talking about. He was sought after. Jason Prevard from Morgan State, a cornerback. They need cornerback help. I talked about Chandler Morris, Jacob Holmes, another defensive lineman from Fresno State.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. I remember hearing about that one. Yeah.
Yeah. You got Daniel Kaline, also another backup, a young quarterback who also has experience, in being in a college system per se, from Nebraska, coming over to back up Chandler Morris. He's not coming over, I don't think, for competition. He still has like 3 years of eligibility left, I believe.
I think at least one of the incoming freshman quarterbacks, the kid from Florida, I can't, his name escapes me for the moment. Um, he doesn't sound like he's coming here to hold up a clipboard. So camp in the fall should be, well, spring camp should be interesting.
I think so too. The one lineman I was talking about, they had the center Brady Wilson, the center, who's decorated. I know he was on the list for one of the top centers in the nation, playing for the Blazers.
Oh wow.
You got a Jamar Taylor, that was a running back I was speaking of, who I think is a little better than a lot of people probably don't know how good he really is. I think he could be really special here. Picked up the safety Devin Neal from Louisville, another talented guy.
Mm-hmm.
So in addition to the lineman we talked about, I think it's a pretty good haul so far. They still need some more bodies. They still need some more players, but I think it's good. I think they're doing a good
Yeah,
job.
it's encouraging, but to AB's point, yeah, if you've got a Ferrari but you never take it out of second gear, what's why?
Might as well drive a Prius, huh?
Exactly. Just plug and play as it were.
Yeah, you might as well drive a Prius.
It's we've and I've my issues with the offensive scheming. This I'm glad they have arrows in their have bullets in the holster, but if you're not gonna utilize your weapons, what are we doing here?
Right.
So I'll be curious to see what they do, because we've got to get better on the field and off the field. It's
I would be interested to
this
see if Coach Elliott will have more input, or if he's going to even call plays.
somebody really should.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It'll be
just
interesting.
I've been down that road once or twice. It's everybody has to be better, not just the kids on the field. Everybody has to be better, do better.
Yeah, this is a team effort, concerted effort
It always
for
is. It always
everybody
is.
to get better, please. So
Yeah.
one of my let's go to the next segment here. One of the things that was kind of like the buzz. This is one of the buzzes that was going
Okay.
around in the media area, the media
You've been
room.
hitting the edibles again?
No, not
Okay.
edibles. Maybe the verbal edibles.
Are you
When
you're
you
talking
hear
about
things.
you're talking about the article by your boy Chris?
Well, he did, and I will say he was in the room. He was at that round table we were talking, and it was a question of, and I don't like using this word typically when we're talking about good people or people in general. The word lame duck. When
Yeah.
you say lame duck, that means that you don't have a job after this year is up.
Yeah.
And it was something to the effect of, do we have 4 lame ducks at the 4 most important positions on the grounds? And I know this is probably going to bring some a little bit of flame, fire, and brimstone out of some people, and maybe some people higher up may not like this segment from us, but
Uh-oh.
they
That's all
have a
right.
lot of
Time to get spicy.
yeah, exactly. So the
I taught
obvious,
middle school. Do you think I'm worried about people not liking me?
well, I mean, just from the low hanging fruit pieces, of course, Coach Elliott. People have questioned his his job, for the past couple of years. Should he stay here? Should he go? Should the administration, look to replace him? That's been out there for at least 2 years. So there's that. Then there's Ron Sanchez, who just got thrusted into, the spot that Tony Bennett left, pretty much trying to take over his legacy to continue his legacy, but may not be doing the greatest job, but is also at a talent deficit. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
So he's interim. So whenever you have the term interim ahead of your title, that means they can get rid of you at any time. That
Yeah.
means you're
Yeah.
not permanent.
Or you just let
So
him finish out the year and start your coaching search early.
that's right. So now that we have those two, which are the two most important coaches on the grounds of any college Division one program, are typically those positions. Um, Carla, who contract runs out in the spring of this year, I believe,
I think you're
and
right.
she's the rumors. I haven't confirmed any of them. It's saying that she's has interviewed for a job at South Carolina, but I don't know this to be true. But these are just kind of the rumors that are out there,
That would be
speculation.
closer to home for her, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. It would.
Isn't she from
She
Georgia?
played basketball at the University of Georgia
I know
and was
she's
an
a Georgia
assistant
alum.
AD. Yeah, right. Was the
Okay.
assistant AD before she came here. So yeah, it would be closer to home. And maybe she's not there. So you might not have anyone here to hire your next football or basketball coach.
Yeah.
Then the big fish, a bigger fish, we're talking about the president of the university. And that was a big conversation among media, and they're saying I guess there was a lawsuit or some things pending with the medical,
Oh
the
yes.
hospital, at the hospital.
Yes, that's I think that all that lacks is a ringmaster, and you'd have a three-ring circus. It's a mess.
Yeah, yeah,
Something ain't right.
and it's like something to the effect of, um, w- w- he could be let go, or made to leave his position, to leave his post, based off of
Yeah, I mean,
what is going on. I mean, you can look this up in some information online about some of the things that are going on with the with the hospital at UVA, but the word lawsuits kind of comes to mind, um, and some things that are that will be litigated on, um,
yeah,
and not sure. I mean, this could be a catastrophic breakdown. AB, let me let you chime in on this. This is a lot to digest. Viewers and listeners, if you're out there, you want to chime in, write a comment in. We'll speak about it. We'll talk about it. We'll include you as well in this conversation. But just put your comment in the box, and we'll talk about it. But let me bring you in, AB, on some of this. I know you wanted to you may have some things to say about this, but it could be frightening, based off of all of there's a mass exodus of leadership, high-end leadership on the ground. So give me your opinion about what you see.
So I was like just looking up the lawsuit itself. Um, and it just says that they have a culture of fear and retaliation, and it's endangering patients. They've hired a huge law firm to come in.
UVA or okay, UVA.
I think
Uh,
the medical staff.
The medical staff
mhm.
has, and yeah, it's that's not looking good. Um, I mean, the president, it is, that's not really a concern of mine as much as the actual administration in the athletic department.
Mhm.
Um, I think I had voiced this before. I don't mind Carla. I feel like Carla was able to come from a pretty big university where she could see that UVA was behind the curve in a lot of areas. So I have to give her kudos when it comes to our facilities. She's done a fantastic job on trying to improve the facilities for us as fans and for the athletes to make us look more appealing. I think she knew she had to work on that first, because you go to UVA and it's not as exciting, and then you go and visit somewhere else and it's like, holy crap, this is so shiny and pretty in comparison to what I was just at. Nobody is looking at UVA in that regard after they leave.
Right.
So I think she knew that she had to work on that first, and then everything else can follow suit. So I still think that Carla needs some time. If she decides to move on her own, that's something obviously different. But I think that for us, I think we need to still support her and stand by her. In my mind, I think the bigger picture when we're talking lawsuits is it's bringing up what happened to our football team too. Because there was a lack of, I just feel like there was some negligence there that happened then from the staff, from a standpoint on that. I mean, we lost a ton of money on that because we paid out a lot of money to those well-deserving families. I mean, I'm not going to take that away from them, but at the same time, had our administration done what they needed to do, that situation may not have occurred. So not only do we have the medical thing, we have what happened to our football players. There's a lot going on. And I think that it's only going to get messier. So I would love her to stay, but it might be a good thing for UVA if we start fresh. If we start over with a new leaf and we get some new blood in here that can really go back to what UVA football is. I mean, my mom moved into a new townhome this past week. I took off to be with her, and we went through so much stuff. I mean, handwritten notes from Jerry Capone and Al Groh, just thanking us for our support, thanking us for being a part of UVA football. That's not to be found anymore. And that's what made the UVA community so special then. It didn't matter whether we won or we lost. The community was so strong behind those coaches because of who they were. So now you have these guys that are in there now that I don't know if they have built enough with the community to get the community support to back them. I mean, there's some big donors that's backing them, but us down here at the bottom that don't make that kind of money, it's not appealing for us. So now that huge switch could be beneficial for us, but I don't know.
That's a nice take there. Very interesting. Let me come to you, Ed. What's going on to my man James Watson in the chat? Happy New Year to you too. Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I've thought for a while that there was a leadership problem at UVA. Not just in the athletic department, not just not overall. The president, the AD serves at the pleasure of the president. The president serves at the pleasure of the board of visitors. They all serve at the pleasure of whoever happens to be sitting in the governor's chair. And AB was right. There was some opportunities to do the right thing, to be maybe a little more proactive rather than just sticking to the letter of the law. We know we're not allowed to do that. Listen, we're all old enough to know that if they want to get rid of you, they can find a reason to get rid of you. Same deal with students. If you want to get rid of them, you can find a way to get rid of them. So it's I've been a little frustrated with President Ryan over this whole medical center mess. If you have that many people coming to you and saying there's a problem, there's probably a problem. It's you would like to think that everybody at the hospital is pulling on the same rope, but 9 times out of 10 they're not.
Right, they're not.
And same deal with an athletic department. You would like to think that everybody was on board with the brand, but you sometimes, especially when you're in tough situations, you start to look out for number one, and things kind of fall apart, and that's where leadership can really kind of bring people together. Um, there was a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth after the Louisville game. You're going on a trip out to California. That could be a really long trip. It could be a really great trip.
Yeah,
But
it could.
somebody needs to step up and say, "Hey, listen, this has got to stop. I know you're not. I know you're not. Tree Rollins or anything like that. But get your skinny little butt in position, and get some rebounds. It's sometimes leadership is going out there and scoring 20 points and getting 10 rebounds. Sometimes leadership is putting the finger in somebody's chest and say, "Do better." And I'm hoping that they use this time together, because you're going to be in close quarters. If you don't like somebody, figure it out, kids. I don't know what to tell you, but somebody needs to step up, and there's a way to hold people accountable without embarrassing them. You don't need to throw them under the bus, but you can do better. I know you can do better.
Okay. Well, I
mean, I would like to see them. I don't think you're going to address the basketball situation until you address the Carla situation, and you're going to have a hard time getting an AD to come here if they don't know who their boss is going to be.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. You don't know who the president's going to be. You don't know who, who the AD is going to be. You don't, no football coach. If Coach Elliott struggles, he may not make, well, he may end the year, but his seat is the hottest in the ACC right now, obviously.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, he's
his seat is the hottest, and one of the top 3 hottest seats. So he may not make it himself. Hopefully, he does, and the team turns around, he does well. But you never want anybody to lose their occupation, lose their job. But in sports and especially big, Division I college football, it's kind of a thing. If you're not successful, or there's not a measure of success that has been shown consistently, a lot of times they're just going to move on from you. Coach Sanchez may be in the most unfair position out of all the people, because he was pretty much thrown into the job. He was going to be Tony's assistant until Tony was ready to go. Well, how about I'm ready to go right now, and it's your job now? Think about, it's your job now, Ron.
Yeah. Every married man out there knows the concept of voluntold.
Yeah, ain't no doubt about it.
He didn't volunteer; he was voluntold.
Right.
And
he didn't know. Tony even admitted, he said, "I didn't even know I was going to do it until."
And I believe him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I believe him, but coach, coach was handed a flawed roster, and then he lost one of his top transfers to the transfer portal before the kid ever played a game. Could we use another point guard right about now? I feel like we could.
Oh well, that's another thing. We can
Can we use another 3-point shooter? Yeah, I kind of feel like we could. It's but by the same token, if they don't want to be here, it's sort of like Curly Bill says in Tombstone. Bye.
Well, you also got to think about the whole Chris Bliss situation.
Yes, that's getting interesting.
Yeah, and I made a comment about that. I was at the game this weekend, that Louisville game, and I said they struggle with ball handling. They struggle with tempo. They struggle with running the offense to a precision that it needs to be ran to. And it's an offense that needs precision. It needs to be.
You basically need a coach on the floor.
You absolutely need a coach on the floor. Somebody who has the skill, not just somebody who can tell people where to go. You need to be able to manifest that physically as well, not just verbally. So, and I don't think they have that. You need somebody who's more athletic, who has a better ball handler, somebody who can get their own shots somewhat, somebody who can break down a defense. And I made the statement there. I said, where are you, Chris Bliss? We want to see what you are. We want to see what you have to offer the program. There's been a lot of hope around him, and what they need is a shot in the arm of someone who sounds like the skill set of Chris Bliss, who's a New York kid. Not trying to stereotype New York kids, but a lot of kids that come from New York as a point guard from New York typically is a point guard who is a little flashy, but that's the superficial stuff. But usually someone who truly is super game savvy, someone who knows how to penetrate, knows how to break somebody down off the dribble, knows how to get other people involved. There's a long list of just point guards that have come from New York and have been legends, and I want to see what he has to offer, man.
Yeah, I'd really love to see him on the court. I mean, if you say you're hurt, you're hurt. But by the same token, I broke my ankle when I was 12. Broke both bones in the lower leg and tore all 6 ligaments in the ankle.
Jeez,
it hurt. Spoiler alert: 48 years later, it still hurts. Winter is not my favorite time of the year for a reason. But this week in particular, the sidewalk was not going to shovel itself. The driveway was not going to shovel itself. Praise the Lord and pass the Tylenol. Let's go. It might be that his ankle is not going to get any better, and it's a question of getting it to a point where you can play. There was one of my favorite players on the Capitals, a guy by the name of TJ Oshie.
Yeah,
Oshbabe. I love Oshbabe. But they were saying last year that he was getting to the rink hours before anybody else just to get ready to play, getting treatment, getting stretched out just to get ready to go warm up and play.
Wow. Well,
some guys just want to play.
Yeah, that's right. Some guys just want to play. I think, with the basketball team, and we'll come back to the last segment, but I was saying, UVA men's basketball is in trouble, and I said let's discuss. And I think they're in a lot of trouble at this point. They haven't even really gotten into the thick, and they're about to get into the thick of ACC play.
We're about to head into the deep end of the pool, and
yeah. I don't even know where to go. This team has no identity. I think they're still struggling to run the offense. I don't see any real precision there. They still are trying to play this Tony Bennett style, and they don't have enough talent to run it. My man James Watson is saying, I was fortunate enough to practice. I noticed that Dante Harris was playing on a UVA practice squad days before he went to Memphis. That's right. I was thinking he would have had another run at UVA since he can bring the ball up. Yeah, and I don't even know what was up with that. I didn't know that they could necessarily do that. But I think maybe it was just an academic thing for him. He just wanted to work out with the team, and that's fine. You can never have enough, live bodies, on the court, especially somebody who's familiar with your system.
Yeah.
But the guy, the linchpin is Chris Bliss. That's the guy that I want to see. I am standing on the table like, where are you, son? We want to see what your talent is, and if it pans out that it's not, he doesn't mix well with the players that are there and he doesn't do all that great, then that's okay too. But
this wasn't the place for you.
This team is crying out for help, and they're struggling, and I don't see relief in sight. And he's the only, you said Tylenol. He's the only Tylenol, pain reliever that I can see that could help this program, because he's just what the doctor ordered: a big ball handling point guard who can distribute, possibly get his own shot. And because of his size, he's 6'3", he's a big point guard. He should be able to get to the rim, or even when he's shooting, possibly shoot over some smaller point guards.
Yeah, it's. I'm not saying he has to be Ty Jerome, but one of the great things about Ty Jerome was that if Kyle Guy wasn't open, or okay, since I can't think of anybody else, it's just, if Jack Salt wasn't open, you know, Ty could create his own shot. He could get his own shot, or he could just, sorry Dukies, take a step back and hit a game-winning three.
Right.
Okay, sorry, not sorry. It's that's the beauty of those New York point guards, is they don't shrink as a general rule. They don't shrink from a tough situation. They stick their chin out there and they say,
bring it on.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
bring it
on. Go.
I mean, I'm old enough to remember
a big shot of that in the arm.
We need a Ty Jerome or a John Crotty.
A general. We need a general on the court. We don't have a general. God bless his heart, Andrew Rhodey. And I'm as hard on Rhodey as anybody when I, talk about, what he's done, and he's done well. He's done a little better in the.
But he's a two. He's not a point guard.
No,
he's been forced into that role. Because we don't have anybody else.
He reminds me of the young man at the AAU, or not even AAU level, where he has to have his arm out to dribble up the court. You know what I mean? He has his arm out so no one can cross him. Can try to come to the ball. He has his arm out protecting his dribble.
Dribbling up the court, sort of like he's winning the Heisman or something. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you need a. I'm with you. I'm thinking of all these great New York point guards that we've had.
Right. Wow, look at
James.
James says VCU announced on Monday that they are going to start paying players $384,000 a piece. He's going to send me the article. Wow, that's all right. That's VCU. Okay, you got that medical money too. You got that medical money. Something. And you know what? Speaking of that, I got an idea what that NIL was. Did you ever get an idea what that was? The big donation? That was something that was talked about in our media circles this past weekend. Remember this?
Whoever it was wanted to remain anonymous. I'm like, well, that's not. If that makes it till summer, you'll be lucky. But okay, be anonymous, fine.
Well, they said it was the largest donation by anyone donated to a football program. So the number, apparently, from what I understand from some of my media folks, was $100 million.
Oh,
and it's going to be paid out.
Pardon my French, but damn,
10 years, $10 million for over 10 years.
100.
And then the sports organization, I think VAF, they're going to match, I think, up to $3 million for the people that donate, to give money back. Also, the girls program got donated money from Serena Williams' husband, who's a Virginia alum, the guy who started Reddit, gave them some money as well. So there's some money coming in.
Man. Virginia has money. That's never been the problem.
Yeah,
it's getting them to spend it.
Exactly. Holy but yeah, that's what the word was. It was $100
That's
million.
right, James. I said it for you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and it's
It's covered.
It's like $10 million a year for 10 years, and then that's for the good of the football program.
Now, what would be really nice, and this has sort of been my bone of contention with Virginia Athletic Foundation back in the day. It's not. Don't get me wrong. It's great to have this guy who's our individual or group or whatever donating this money. That doesn't excuse everybody else from still chipping in. Your twos and fews still count. It's this is for football, which means that basketball is not going to get this, tennis is not going to get this, softball, baseball, lacrosse, they're not going to get this. So they need their sugared alumni to to step up
that's
too.
going to help. Well, them getting that 10 million is going to help, because typically football is going to have football money. They're going to have their money.
Yeah.
Before this donation was even thought of or conceived or even donated, football was going to have football money, and it was TV money. It was money being part of the ACC. All that, they're still going to get their money, and that money helps subsidize everything else for all the other sports.
Yeah, it's money you don't have to find from somewhere else. Yeah, I get it.
This 10 million's coming in. They may be able to subsidize more from that ACC money, from the money that they typically always get. So they may be able to put more money out. You know what I mean? To some of the other, because that trickle down just happens that way. But who says they can't bump a little bit extra money to some of these other programs? My man James saying, if they were paying Calandra $800K, then 10 million a year has to be used wisely. For sure. But but an extra 10 million for 10 years, that's kind of a thing where if you're gonna get one of these high-end players and get them to come to UVA, you say, hey, we got to sign you up for 2 years. I've seen that where schools have signed up kids for multiple years, and they get the money based off of how many years they're there.
Yeah,
and
college.
You get them to commit. I heard my man Ballhawk on his show today saying, and I had said this as well. We need like a 2-year minimum.
I mean,
it's like this.
This is ridiculous.
You get one transfer, right? And then if you transfer again, you gotta
wait.
You can transfer. It's a 2-year minimum, and you can play right away. If you do it again, you're gonna have to sit.
Yeah, I mean, it's you see too many kids that are in their fourth school in 4 years. It's
that's awful. I mean, I get it. That's not for the love of the game. That's for the love of the buck.
Yeah. What was it? Jim Larinaga, who just stepped down at Miami.
Mm-hmm.
He said something at his press conference that just knocked me on my butt. His Final Four team last year. Not last year, but I guess it was maybe 2-3 years ago.
2 years ago.
I think he said, everybody.
It's like 8 of them. Right?
8 of them jumped in the portal. Like, are you not happy? No, I love it here, Coach.
Yeah,
well,
I just
Why are you leaving? Exactly. Well, I got this NIL deal.
And think about it. He said that team was going to return those kids.
They were going to be loaded.
They were kids. It's not like it was their first, those kids last year's. Those kids are going to play again.
You show up, you put in the effort, you're going to be back here unless you do something really stupid and screw it up, like everybody transfers. It's. I understand the kids
take a shot at him though. I think he took a shot at Tony Bennett and a few other of those who jumped out.
No, I don't blame them. I mean, I get it. I sort of feel the same way. It's what are we doing here? Why are we? The idea of I don't mind the kids making money, but
Right.
if I mean, and I don't, I'm not sure Anthony Calandria was worth 800,000.
Well,
I just it's
I heard some things about that too.
yeah it's
Yeah, I heard
yeah,
some immature things about that too.
yeah.
It's
Oh,
like
I
he was
listen.
cleaning out his locker
Yeah.
the day,
It's sort of like the conversation we were having about the Bliss kid. If you've been around the game or games long enough, when you're getting when we're talking about somebody, but we're not talking about somebody.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I've heard so many times was the most important ability is availability.
Absolutely right.
If you're hurt, whether it's legit or otherwise, if you're hurt and you can't play, you're no good to me. It's you hate
That
to
sounds
be
like Belichick. You're no good to me.
yeah
Or Bill Parcells. You're no good
oh
to me.
yeah listen I love the big tuna.
Yeah.
Belichick not so much, but I love Parcells because
Right.
Parcells said what he thought. He didn't care.
Right.
He had I don't think he made did he make Lawrence Taylor bring donuts to practice?
No, he bought powdered donuts.
Well, yeah. There's that.
It's powdered donuts,
Yeah, I guess.
maybe.
Yeah, it's. I understand why guys like Tony and Jim Larinaga and Jay, the guy at Villanova, Jay,
Yeah, J Harris. J.
Jay no, I can't think of the guys. Anyway, I understand why those guys are getting out because it's like Jim Larinaga was saying, you've got a Final Four team, and over half of the
Right.
roster is transferring.
Mm-hmm.
What do
What do you do?
it's
What can you do? You can't do anything at this point. You can't do
there's
anything.
if a coach leaves, the kid should be able to leave. But this business of shopping for a roster spot,
Yeah.
it's really
There's
ruining the game.
the gruesome side of that is there are way more kids left out that don't have a home.
Yeah,
And they're
yeah,
just hanging, they're just drifting in the abyss of the portal and don't have nowhere to go because maybe they were
yeah,
promised some things, or maybe they felt in their heart they could go somewhere and didn't pan out. And now think about trying to go back to a school you jumped away from. School's gonna be like, nah, I
yeah.
need you. No, we can't do that.
You didn't want to be here. Now you want to be here because you got no place else to go.
Right.
That's and you're going to hear about that from your teammates. It's
Yeah.
the guys. It's like I said, I understand the money side of it, but this it's you watch the Army Navy gaming and you don't see a lot of those kids in the transfer portal. I watched the Division III championship, the Stag Bowl. None of those kids are on scholarship. Never mind NIL money. They don't have a transfer portal.
Right.
They're just playing for the guy to their left and the guy to their right. It was a great game, but
Sure it was.
It sort of reminds me. I think I've said this before. It sort of reminds me of. I'm old enough to remember when Coca-Cola introduced New Coke.
Right. I
And
remember that.
and
I remember
I
that.
kept New Coke is it's the thing. Nobody asked for New Coke
Or Pepsi Clear.
or
Remember
Pepsi. Oh my God, that stuff was awful.
that?
That was awful. I don't know
Right.
what test group said. Yeah, this stuff. This stuff,
Yeah,
this is what you want.
let's try the clear.
Those
That
people need help.
sounds like a Barry Bonds thing, but I digress. The clear.
Oh,
So let's. Baseball's coming. Look,
you just
look.
you
Baseball
just slid that in there. Oh
baseball's
my
coming.
God! Did
And
not see that coming.
Look, and we'll talk baseball coming up here down the road, and Hall of Fame, whatever. But yeah, UVA baseball rankings came out as well. College baseball, I think UVA is ranked number 5. So,
Really? Okay.
let's quickly get into this last segment here. Now that UVA has kind of benefited from the NIL, we just talked about $10 million for 10 years. We talked about Serena's husband donating money to the women's basketball program. We talked about the VAF matching millions of dollars based off of what donors give.
Yeah.
How do you feel now that UVA has been a big benefactor of the NIL? Because a lot of our Virginia folks, who we have a conservative fan base, a lot of folks in a traditional fan base, they did not like it. They hated it. They said they didn't want nothing to do with it. Players want to leave for money, get out of here. But now it seems like we may have some players coming because we are benefiting from donations and having some extra funds and some money. Viewers and listeners out there, you want to donate or donate on a telethon? If you want to contribute to this subject,
to this podcast,
please, please comment. How do you feel nowadays? Now that Virginia has had some comeuppance, they have some good juju, with the NIL, and it seems like there's players coming. You don't know exactly all the reasons why, but I guarantee you all those guys aren't coming to say that they got a UVA degree.
Yeah, we're that.
I mean,
that ship has sailed.
Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah, they've killed college sports. It's just like one more minor league now.
Mm-hmm. But how do you feel about UVA benefiting from the NIL? Are you okay with it now, or are you still traditionalist or still on the fence where like I don't like it. I don't think I will like it. Or for me, I've always wanted the kids to get paid for their own name, and for the opportunity for them to subsidize their income. Why not? If I had a child, and I use this example every time, if I had a child that was on a scholarship, but on a academic scholarship, because of they had great grades or president's list, all A kind of a student, all A's, and just qualified, and UVA say, hey, we want your child is exceptionally dedicated and smart to whatever we want to bring them in and have them represent, and we're our institution, and we're going to give you a scholarship for that. And let's say on the backside, after maybe a year at UVA, still on scholarship, Microsoft says, or Apple, whatever, one of the two says, wow, your child is exceptional. They're very smart. And we noticed that they also have the ability they've shown the ability to decode viruses. And we're going to pay him $500,000 a year. Will anyone have a problem with that? No. It's just because it's because so they maintain their education and their status of being a scholarship academic student, and they're getting paid from not getting paid a handsome, well, not even a handsome salary, a ridiculous salary to also decode viruses for a high-end company, and they're getting money based off of their skill, even though they're still in school.
Yeah, I mean, what's the difference?
Would anybody right? What's the difference if you're an athlete and getting money the same way? Somebody wants to sponsor you, a car dealership wants to give you a freaking Lamborghini and pay you so much just to drive around with a sticker on the car, and pay you so many dollars, couple $100,000 a year. Why does it matter? I just think there's just a stigma that athletes get, and people don't agree that athletes who are getting free education, free room and board, shouldn't get paid. But a lot of people don't have the same idea if the child is a brainiac and decodes viruses for Microsoft in the same position. They could be dorm rooms. They could be dorm room roommates, and one
Yeah.
goes to Mac, or actually maybe stay in the room and works remote and decodes viruses for Apple, and the other one does commercials for the dealership down the street. What's the big deal? And both of them are on scholarship for different reasons. So I would never tell my
they're both contributing to society. You may argue that one's a little more noble than the other, but they're both trading goods and services for money.
Right. And I would never tell my child, if I had a child that was that talented, either way, athletically or academically, and they were all given that kind of a deal on the table, I would tell them to take it every time. You'll never be able to make that money up. At age 18, 19, 20 years old, you're making that kind of money. Only a fool tells their child, don't take that. Just my opinion. Unless you're like Peyton Manning, Arch Manning.
Unless you're one of the Mannings or something like that.
Yeah, and you have it. The kid already has it in the bank.
Yeah, but again, as a parent, you have to teach the kid to be smart with their money. So
that's right.
My daughter just started a new job. She's heard me say 1,000 times, pay yourself first. But we moved her in this weekend, and I told her one more time, pay yourself first.
Such a good concept.
It's just being smart. It's planning for a future, but you're not necessarily selling your soul for it. You're just you're putting aside a little bit. You're using the power of compound interest. You're being smart about your money. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't begrudge any of these kids the NIL money necessarily. My thing is, if you're getting paid, I mean, if one thing, if you're on scholarship and you miss the game-winning field goal, okay, people get paid and still miss it, but now you're getting paid too. It's the game has changed because you wanted the game to change. So, they're being mean to me because I missed a field goal. Well, you were being paid to make that field goal. You can argue about this, but don't.
What is it? Kid gloves are off, right? Kid gloves.
Yeah, you said it was a business. Okay, fine, it's a business.
It's a business.
Produce.
And you get the ramifications of not producing. Of course,
I mean, if you're hired by Apple to decode viruses, and you don't decode viruses, right, you're going to be working for somebody else soon, or maybe not working at all.
That's right.
So you can get fired for not doing your Joe job just as good as you can not doing your college athletics job.
Man, what a show!
It's just business.
That's right, it's just business. What a show, man! What a show! I appreciate it, man. Of course, we will be back next Tuesday. Of course, they'll be on the West Coast this weekend, later this week, and then on the weekend they'll be doing the West Coast swing. Anything you'd like to add, Ed? Closing my
no, I hope the basketball team gets their head and their rear ends wired together, because this, I'm not saying you have to win the ACC every year, but come on, boys, it's this. We're better than this. I know they are. It's not about like I said, being Tree Rollins. It's about getting in position and wanting it more than the other guy. You don't have to be bigger than the other guy. You just have to want it more than he does.
Dennis Rodman was only 6'7". He rebounded everybody. Charles Barkley was only 6'5".
One of the great ones, Wes Unseld, was led the league in rebounding for years. He was officially listed at he was listed at 6'8", but he wasn't 6'8".
He's 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah. Yeah, it's getting your butt in position and wanting it more than the other guy.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Who wants it more?
Well, we call that a manhood issue where I'm from.
Yeah. No rebounds, no rings, fellas.
That's right.
It's that simple.
But we got to thank all of you for hanging out, and hanging out with us for this show. We will be back again next week. You got any comments? Go ahead and put them in the chat there, and we will type back to you, respond back to you. But we got to thank you for hanging out, spending some time with us. But as of now, the shop is closed. Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And hopefully you have a great year, a blessed year coming up. And also, shout out to Moonshine Daiquiri Company. Maybe a partner here.
Oh,
working with them coming up here soon. Shout out to Tanya, and let's see what happens.
Moonshine Daiquiri.
Yep.
Interesting.
New brand coming to the States. Thank you, guys.
That may take me back to high school.
Thank you, guys. We love you, and wahoo wah. See you guys.
Stay strong, Chad. Get better, buddy.